Good evening and welcome to Biz RoundUp. I'm Chamon Fernando and we at Art Television bring you a collection of business highlights. Let's have a look at the headlines. IMF encourages the perseverance of the reform agenda to ensure long-term benefits. President invites investments to Sri Lanka's renewable energy sector. Foreign Minister Ali Sabri addresses the 19th summit of the Non-Aligned Movement. Now the news in detail. IMF Senior Mission Chief for Sri Lanka, Peter Brewer, said that the organization realized that the benefits of the reform program has not yet fully resolved the day-to-day challenges faced by the people. However, he stressed that perseverance in the reform agenda is key to ensuring economic benefits to all Sri Lankans in the long run. The IMF Mission Chief for Sri Lanka said this speaking at a discussion at the Presidential Secretariat recently.
It seems like there's a positive surprise in all of this, which will go a long way to build confidence with the international community, with official creditors, with private creditors. And that is very important. I think that will really sort of highlight the seriousness with which the authorities are approaching the reforms. So I think that really is good news. At the board meeting, directors pointed out other positive news. Inflation has come down so significantly because of the efforts that the authorities have undertaken with respect to monetary policy and with respect to scaling back monetary financing. So that really is another great achievement that was highlighted, amongst many others. The increase in reserves, we are getting positive signs that is working well. The governance reforms have begun, so I think these are all positive signs. And in fact, we are now seeing in the third quarter positive economic growth. Now, it is very tentative. It's not in the areas where we would like to see it in terms of benefiting the people. At the moment, it is sort of capital formation, it's the machinery and so forth, but you have to start somewhere. Eventually, that growth will move over to other sectors. And so I think that is good news. But for that to happen, of course, perseverance with the reforms is absolutely key.
Speaking at the meeting, President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that a deficit of qualified personnel is hindering the legal drafting process of the planned reforms. The President said that in order to resolve this issue, the government is planning to outsource some of the work to retired professionals and ones who are residing abroad.
Past few months, we can use 2 words, very satisfactory. But we have far more to go ahead. I think they've all dealt with most of the issues. In regard to laws, we have only one bottleneck. That is, we have very few personnel who are involved in drafting laws. And I think we may be having about 30 or 40, unless we find some ways of getting contracting out to some of the retired people or people abroad. So that's one issue. We have the bottleneck. As far as the Anti-Corruption Commission is concerned, no, they are going ahead. Actually, they had agreed on the principles on selections, but I think they were arguing on many issues around it. So there are about 2 or 3 changes, not on the criteria, but on some of the other matters. But it was not an issue because I think most of them came and agreed on the present chairman, Neil Idawela, who was earlier the additional Secretary General of Parliament and then a judge in the Court of Appeal. So there was a unanimity as far as the chairman and the other 2 members were concerned. I met with them and I said, go through what you have to do. Don't rush into anything just because people say you have to catch the crooks, but go in, look at the training. There's actually a big, one of the issues that you have is certainly that most of them are not trained. You have got untrained. So look at what you have to do to develop your human resources.
Tourism Minister Harin Fernando said that total arrivals in the first 15 days of January surpassed 90,000, a substantial increase from last year. He said this during a press conference held in Colombo recently.
According to the provisional data released by the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, the country welcomed over 64,000 visitors in the first 10 days of January. Notable contributors to this surge include Russia with over 11,000, India with over 9,000, and Germany with 5,000 arrivals respectively. Other markets including the UK, China, France, Australia, Poland, the Netherlands, and the US also played a role in the positive trend. Tourism Minister attributed this success to the resumption of charter flights, higher international rankings, and ongoing promotional efforts. Fernando also said that he expects the resumption of services by Cathay Pacific and AirAsia and other budget airlines to boost arrivals, particularly from Australia. Sri Lanka Tourism has set an ambitious target of reaching over 200,000 monthly arrivals for January. Travelopath and Forbes magazine have recognized Sri Lanka as one of the fastest growing tourism destinations and the fourth best solo travel destination, respectively.
State Minister for Tourism Diana Gamage has forecasted a substantial resurgence in the sector with expectations set at attracting 2 million tourists and generating an estimated revenue of $6 billion. She said this speaking at a press conference held at the Presidential Media Center recently.
State Minister Diana Gamage emphasized successful measures implemented to promote tourism, resulting in over 700,000 tourists visiting the country this year. The Minister of Tourism is aiming for 2 million tourists in 2024, projecting an anticipated revenue of $6 billion. State Minister Gamage said that the government is actively working to address challenges including reported price increases at tourist attractions. She said that Minister Harin Fernando is in discussions with President Ranil Wickremesinghe to promptly address these issues. State Minister Gamage also said that projects in the pipeline to enhance convenience in cultural sites, waterfalls, Alla, Bandaravela, and other tourist attractions. These efforts are aimed at addressing various challenging and disheartening situations faced by tourists when traveling around the country.
Stay tuned, we will return after this commercial break. Welcome back. The central bank has announced a significant move aimed at reinforcing governance in state-owned banks. Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe unveiled plans to forward guidelines for the appointment of State Bank Board of Directors to the Finance Ministry. The Central Bank Governor said this while speaking at the Annual Policy Statement 2024 held at the Central Bank premises last week.
Dr. Veerasinghe said that the central bank aims to issue guidance to the Finance Ministry on appointments to the Board of Directors for state-owned banks. Dr. Veerasinghe said that a robust framework will mandate independent members on the boards of state-owned banks, enhancing governance. He said that nomination procedures will involve open searches adhering to specific standards for professional expertise and independence. The central bank aims to assess the fitness and propriety of directors, CEOs, and key management personnel of licensed commercial banks more rigorously. Approval will be granted based on relevant qualifications and experience, ultimately enhancing the competency of board compositions. Amendments include strengthening minimum licensing requirements, corporate governance, and various measures aimed at bolstering the stability of the banking sector.
Japanese Finance Minister Suzuki Sunichi said that it is imperative to wrap up the unfinished projects and finalizing debt restructuring agreements before moving towards newer projects. Japan's Finance Minister Suzuki Sunichi met the President on a 2-day official visit to Sri Lanka at the Presidential Secretariat recently.
The Japanese Finance Minister expressed strong admiration for President Ranil Wickremesinghe, acknowledging significant improvements in Sri Lanka's economy. Talks between the leaders encompassed a wide range of subjects from information technological cooperation to maritime security collaboration. During the meeting, President Wickremesinghe said that Japan's role in addressing Sri Lanka's debt issues has been crucial and appreciated the ongoing support for Sri Lanka. President Wickremesinghe also highlighted the need for further collaboration, particularly in the realms of a competitive green economy and a digital economy. He stressed the importance of exports to enhance the trade balance, expressing optimism for the realization of a new economic model in Sri Lanka. The foreign minister anticipated the potential resumption of yen loans pending the conclusion of an MOU at the official creditor committee and continued debt sustainability.
Sri Lanka has officially signed a framework for cooperation with international fair trade networks. The signing ceremony was held at a hotel in Colombo recently.
The primary goal of the cooperation framework is to strengthen ties between fair trade networks and related institutions in Sri Lanka. The framework of cooperation was signed by Chairman of the EDB, Dr. Kingsley Bernard, and T. Fernando, Country Representative for World Fair Trade Organization/Asia. The signing ceremony saw the physical and online presence of officials from various supporting organizations. Speaking at the event, Dr. Kingsley Bernard expressed the commitment to implementing the activities outlined in the framework of cooperation. Plans for an initial meeting involving all relevant institutions in January were announced to discuss future plans, an action plan and scheduled activities for 2024. The fair trade standards implemented aim to empower farmer and worker communities in Sri Lanka by addressing power imbalances, market volatility and inequities in conventional trade. More than 25 small-scale producer organizations and 20 wage labor plantations involving around 25,000 farmers and workers have received fair trade certification.
Stay tuned, we will return after this commercial break. Welcome back. President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted the country's commitment to renewable energy. He emphasized the opportune moment for investments in Sri Lanka's renewable energy sector, expressing confidence in the potential to yield substantial benefits. The president expressed this at the Green Technology Forum in Davos, Switzerland recently.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe underscored Sri Lanka's dedication to renewable energy, addressing global concerns about climate change and energy security. President Wickremesinghe highlighted Sri Lanka's ongoing efforts to include wind and solar power in the national grid. The goal is to fulfill 70% of Sri Lanka's electricity needs through renewable sources by 2030, requiring an investment of up to $11.5 billion. The President outlined significant reforms undertaken in the past 2 years to create an investment-friendly environment for renewable energy. Legislative amendments to the Electricity Act in 2022 cleared hurdles for large-scale private investment in the renewable energy sector. The President also highlighted plans for investments in storage, transmission and distribution, crucial for integrating more renewable energy into the grid. President also indicated that Sri Lanka and India are in talks regarding grid interconnection, enabling Sri Lanka to export surplus electricity to southern India. He concluded by stating that a high degree of policy continuity can be expected, making it the best time to invest in Sri Lanka's renewable energy journey.
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe, during his official tour to Switzerland, also addressed the business roundtable organized by BOI Sri Lanka and the Swiss Asian Chamber of Commerce. Speaking at the business roundtable, President Wickremesinghe acknowledged the challenges faced by the nation, including the recent crises, adverse effects on businesses and the population. Despite difficulties, he noted that Sri Lanka had overperformed as indicated in a meeting with the International Monetary Fund.
The President highlighted the successful debt restructuring in collaboration with the IMF and outlined key reforms undertaken in 2022 and 2023. These reforms addressed crucial business impediments, resolved supply bottlenecks in fuel and electricity, lifted import restrictions and restored foreign exchange liquidity. President Wickremesinghe pointed to positive economic indicators, including currency stabilization, a significant reduction in inflation and the reversal of negative economic growth from the third quarter of 2023. Looking ahead, President Wickremesinghe emphasized the government's focus on fostering growth through exports, services and investments, including foreign direct investment. He announced concluded and upcoming FTAs with Singapore, Thailand, India and China, along with ongoing talks with other South Asian nations. The President highlighted Sri Lanka's initiatives to join the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership and the benefits of GSP Plus for access to European markets.
Foreign Minister Ali Sabri stressed the crucial role of the non-aligned movement in global affairs, especially for the nations of the Global South. Foreign Minister Ali Sabri said this delivering an address at the ministerial meeting of the 19th Summit of the non-aligned movement currently underway in Kampala, Uganda.
Speaking under the theme Deepening Cooperation for Shared Global Affluence, he emphasized that non-alignment remains the cornerstone of Sri Lanka's foreign policy. The Republic of Uganda assumed the chairmanship of the summit, recalling the historic ties between Sri Lanka and the NAM as a founding member. Minister Sabri urged member states to unite in the face of challenges to the movement's principles, emphasizing the importance of solidarity. The ministerial meeting also saw bilateral discussions between Foreign Minister Sabri and counterparts from Uganda, Pakistan and Algeria. The NAM, consisting of 120 member states, operates based on the Bandung principles, striving to advance the interests of developing countries.
With that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Take care and good night.